So in today's video, I'm going to go over the week 5 module. Imagine getting home repair advice from a pet store owner or medical advice from a contractor. You would hesitate and instead seek guidance from professionals in their respective fields. This scenario highlights the crucial concept of credibility. When constructing a persuasive essay or thesis, the strength of your supporting evidence is paramount. That's why it's vital to avoid the use of first-person speech, such as I, you, me, my, our, us, and we. Avoid personal opinions and examples based on experience. Instead, adopting a strictly third-person perspective enhances the credibility of your writing. This week's module will focus on distinguishing between credible and non-credible sources. You'll learn to identify reliable sources that add weight to your argument. Meanwhile, you will be cautious of unreliable or biased information. Additionally, we'll delve into the intricacies of incorporating these sources using the widely recognized APA formatting style. Properly citing and referencing your sources showcases your attention to detail. It adds credibility to your work. Furthermore, we'll dedicate time to perfecting our compare and contrast essay drafts. You'll refine your writing by building on the skills and knowledge gained throughout this course. This will ensure clarity, coherence, and a compelling presentation of your ideas. By employing effective compare and contrast strategies, you'll craft a well-structured essay that strengthens your thesis and captivates your readers. So get ready to sharpen your critical evaluation skills, master APA formatting, and put the finishing touches on your compare-contrast essay drafts. Let's elevate the credibility of your writing and demonstrate your ability to present a well-supported argument. It's time to embrace the principles of credible writing and refine your skills to become a persuasive and authoritative voice. Tip: credible sources have to be up-to-date information and share relevant research from trusted authorities. The URL should signify its trustworthiness. Sites that end with edu, .gov, and .org are a good start. Week 5 Learning Outcomes. Write using proper grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Recognize essay types such as personal narrative, process analysis, compare and contrast, and persuasion essays. Explain and demonstrate steps in the writing process. Week 5 Learning Outcomes. Identify parts of speech, proper capitalization, and end punctuation. Identify proper sentence structure, subject, and predicate. Differentiate a complete sentence from a fragment, run-on, and a comma splice. Write well-developed, well-organized paragraphs. Identify agreement and tenses in parts of speech. Recognize dangling modifiers and punctuation, such as apostrophes, hyphens, and question marks, and their proper usage. Analyze and correct grammatical and mechanical errors in a given passage. Explain the characteristics of academic writing. Discuss persuasive writing. Demonstrate understanding of the revision process, and demonstrate revision skills in the writing process. Expectations. In week 5, you will read in your textbook Chapter 16, Argument, Chapter 17, Information Literacy, Chapter 18, Summarizing and Paraphrasing. Complete the interactive lecture, the Week 5 Writing Warm-Up. Participate in Week 5 Discussion Persuasive Passage. And then the initial post is due Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Response to 2 peers by Sunday at midnight Pacific. Submit Week 5 assignment, Credible Sources and APA worksheet, due by Sunday, midnight Pacific, and do the week 5 quiz. Persuasive essay. A persuasive essay, sometimes called an argumentative essay or an argument essay, is a type of writing that attempts to convince the reader to agree with the writer's point of view. Persuasive essays are usually written on topics that have differing opinions. The purpose of a persuasive essay is to persuade the reader to adopt the writer's position on the issue at hand. Several key elements must be included in a persuasive essay. An introduction that clearly states the thesis or main argument of the essay. Body paragraphs that support the thesis with evidence and reasoning. A conclusion that wraps up the argument and reaffirms the thesis. With these elements in mind, let's look at a step-by-step guide to writing a persuasive argument essay. What is a persuasive argument essay? A persuasive essay or an argument essay is a type of essay that seeks to persuade the reader to see things from the writer's perspective. These essays are usually written in response to a prompt or question, and they typically use the evidence and logic to support the writer's position. Persuasive argument essays can be tricky because it can be easy to get caught up in your opinion and forget to present the other side fairly. However, if you plan and structure your essay carefully, you can write a persuasive argument. Here are some tips for writing a successful persuasive essay. Choose a clear, debatable topic. Ensure you can find enough evidence to support your position on the issue. Avoid topics that are too broad or too narrow. You want your readers to be able to focus on your argument without getting distracted by tangential issues. Take a position and stick to it. Your goal is to persuade your reader that your opinion is valid. So make sure you present a strong and coherent argument throughout your essay. Use evidence effectively. For your argument to be convincing, you must back it up with evidence from reliable sources to include data, statistics, expert testimony, or real-life examples in your essay to support the claim. Identify your audience. The first step in writing a persuasive argument is identifying your audience. Who will be reading your essay? What are their beliefs and values? What are their preconceptions about your topic? Your goal is to select an audience that is most likely to be receptive to your argument. Identifying the target audience lets you write arguments that align with their beliefs, values, and interests. Whether it's appealing to a specific age group, profession, or cultural background, understanding the audience helps create a more compelling and persuasive essay. By tailoring the message to resonate with the intended readers, the writer can increase the chances of influencing and convincing them to adopt the proposed viewpoint or take the desired action. Once you have identified your audience, you can tailor your essay to address them. When writing your essay, remember that the goal is to persuade your audience to see things from your perspective. Use clear and concise language and avoid using complex words and phrases. Be sure to back up your claims with evidence and always respect other points of view. Week 5, researching for a persuasive essay. Research. A few key strategies can help you write a strong persuasive argument. First, be sure to choose a debatable topic you feel passionate about. Next, do your research and gather evidence to support your position. This could include data, statistics, expert opinions, and real-life examples. The more evidence you have, the stronger your argument will be. Structure your essay clearly and logically. introduce your topic and state your thesis up front. Then present your evidence in a series of well-organized paragraphs. Conclude by reaffirming your thesis and leaving the reader with something to consider. Various research methods are available to help you gather evidence for your persuasive argument essay. One research method you can use is to search online for academic articles on your topic. These articles can provide valuable information and perspectives from experts in the field. Week 5, credible sources. When evaluating the online sources online, it is important to consider the source's credibility and any bias that may be present. To find credible sources, look for articles from reputable journals or websites. Another research method is to search for news articles on your topic. These can provide current information and real-world examples to support your argument. However, it is important to be aware of any bias that may be present in these sources. When evaluating online sources, there are a few things to remember. First, consider the credentials of the author or website. Is this a reliable source of information? Second, look for any potential bias in the source material. Does the author have a vested interest in promoting one side of the information? One side of the argument? Does the author have a vested interest in promoting one side of the argument over the other? For example, is the owner of the Get Fit treadmill writing an article about the benefits of using a treadmill for overall health over other forms of exercise? The owner would certainly have reason to be biased. Consider how recently the information was published. Is it still relevant to your argument? You can gather strong evidence to support your persuasive argument essay using various research methods and carefully evaluating online sources. And so here you have to be very skeptical, because on this end you have very not quite reliable sources. Blogs, personal websites, websites of unknown origin. And then on this side, these are the most, so here you have the least credible sources, that's not believable, and then here you have the most credible sources. These are the most trusted. Then you got everybody else in between. And so here you have the peer review. So whenever you want the most credible sources, then we go to the peer-reviewed scholarly journals. These are books by experts, and you can find these peer-reviewed articles in Google Scholar or in your Fortis online library databases. So this is the most credible, and then these are the least credible. And then you've got your regular newspaper that you get, like the LA Times. So that seems to be smack in the middle. Over here, it's like mainstream media. Okay, so that's like LA Times, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, off the top of my head. Okay, and anything you see on TV. And then you've got interest groups, and the reason why interest groups, I can't think of some off the top of my head, but political parties, religious organizations, activist groups. That's what it says there. So publications from advocacy groups are not as credible. Why? Because they're not objective. When you have advocacy groups, they cherry pick their facts to support their argument, and then they leave out a lot of other facts. So that means you don't get the whole picture of the topic. You just get just enough information just so that you would support their cause. So that's why when you join the advocacy groups, you have to be careful who to trust. So better that you stick to the general media where it's supposed to be objective. Okay, so you want to trust sources that are non-biased and objective, and they tell both sides of the story. And you want to go to some place called allsides.com. And I'll repeat that, allsides.com. That's ALLSIDES.com. That is objective. So in other words, they don't have an agenda. They're not trying to sell you a product. They're not trying to get you to vote for their candidate. None of that. Instead, they're just giving you information for the sake of giving you information. In other words, educational. So that's why websites like .gov, .edu, .org are credible sources. Although some of these advocacy groups probably are .org. So that's why you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis to see if something is credible or not. Always peer-reviewed articles are always credible. And so where do you find it in the library? Basically, you go to the search engine or the search box, the text box, and then you have to check the box that says peer-reviewed articles. Then you type in your topic, press the whatever, and then woo, suddenly everything is peer-reviewed. Or you go to Google Scholar. So all of that's not written on this, but that's what you do if you want to find credible sources. And here you're supposed to have a knowledge check that tells you vitamin C makes you smart. An article written by a vitamin C company. Well, it depends. You got to think to yourself, is this a commercial? Because if it's a commercial, that is not likely a credible source. If it's written by Dr. Smith, then it's a credible source. So that's how you have to think about it. You have to make sure that whatever it is that you're reading is not an advertisement, because we cannot trust advertisements. I'm not going to go through this, but that's something that you can do on your own. Week 5, APA style writing. The American Psychological Association is a scientific and professional organization representing psychologists in the United States. APA is a writing style, and formal researchers use it in social sciences and other fields. The APA guidelines are designed to help writers communicate their research concisely and accurately. Here are some basic tips for formatting your essay in APA style. Use 12-point Times New Roman font. Double space your paper. Include a page header at the top of every page, including the title page with the page number. Margins should be 1 inch on all sides of your paper. Indent the first line of each paragraph 1/2 inch from the left margin. And if you want to see what an APA paper looks like, download Diana Hacker sample APA paper. And you put in those exact words, Diana Hacker sample APA paper. Diana, D-I-N-A-N-A, Hacker, H-A-C-K-E-R. And then sample, then write in the word sample APA paper, and then you can download your own sample APA paper, and you can see for yourself what it looks like. And then you could also go to www.apa.org, and buy your own APA manual. Using the APA style shows your diligence as a researcher and writer, committed to academic honesty. APA style has very specific ways of citing and referencing sources. Citations are given in the body of a paragraph to indicate ownership of an idea or fact to another source. References are presented in a list at the end of the paper. The Purdue OWL Library is a free, user-friendly guide to APA style and an excellent resource for APA. And then you've got different kinds of APA citing, in-text citation, paraphrases. Citations are contained in the body of a paragraph. You may see one like this. Academic writing can take a lot of work. Many students get frustrated and quit before they finish their paper. Smith, 2020. Writing takes determination. You can see in this example that the author learned information from the author Smith with the year of publication, 2020. The information is not in quotation marks because it is paraphrased. Paraphrasing means you rewrite the author's words into your own words, but you must give the person credit for their ideas. So that's known as a paraphrase quote. Then you have something called a direct quote. A direct quote is when you use the exact quotes from the author. In other words, you take the quote verbatim. So if you're using something, when you have an exact quotation, you must provide the reference page number. You give the paragraph number, and instead, if there is no page number, then you just give the website. So academic writing can take a lot of work. Unfortunately, many students get frustrated by the writing process and quit before they finish their first writing assignment before they can receive feedback. Then Smith, 2020, page 232. So when you do a paraphrase quote, you're just summarizing the source. When you do a direct quote or an exact quote, then you're writing exactly what the source says. And the difference between the two is when you have a paraphrase quote, no quotation marks, and you just put the author name and the date. And then when you have a direct quote, then you put in the quotation marks, then you put in the author name, the date, the page number. And all of this goes in the body of the paper. Reference citations come at the end of the paper after the last page. And here you got to put it in alphabetical order. And so here you put the last name first name, date, then you put the article name italicized, and then you have the publishing or the website name, and then you have retrieved today's date from web address. So that's the whole thing for your reference citation. So remember that the in-text citation go inside the body of the paper, while reference citation goes after the last page. Weekly writing warm-up. And so for week five, okay, here you go. Week 5, this week you are learning about credible sources and the audience they are speaking to. Regardless of what media you watch or read, it is all biased. Refer to the chart below to determine if your favorite media group is left-leaning, more centric, or right-leaning. Now, read a current event headline to your favorite news outlet, left or right-leaning. You may want to read it once or twice. Free write your impressions of the article. Then go to a news outlet that is opposite your favorite news outlet and do the same. For example, if you choose to read a current event in USA Today, after free writing about it, go to Fox News and read about the same event and free write about it from that perspective. What have you learned from two perspectives when reading about the same event? What does this tell you about credibility and audience? And so here, when they say left and right, they're talking, left means President Biden. Right means President Trump, in case you're wondering what left and right means. Left means Democrats. Right means Republicans. And so the more you go this way, the more progressive it is. Okay, the more left-leaning, meaning hippies and people who believe in climate change. And back in the 70s, they all wore the flowers in their hair, and they were the flower people. Okay, sorry about that. So here you have the progressives, okay, and then over here you have the conservatives. So this way going left is progressive, and this way going right is conservatives. And so here in the middle, that means that they're moderate. So that means that right in the middle, okay? So supposedly BBC, Forbes, Newsweek, Reuters, the Wall Street Journal, I can't really see what that, The Hill. So these are all in the middle. That means that they're supposedly objective, that they don't lean to the left or to the right. And everything on this side, this means that everybody on this side of the spectrum, they like President Biden. They think President Biden, he's a great president, he's a great Democrat. And they don't like Trump. They think Trump is incompetent. They think Trump is unfit for presidency. They think Trump, something about the January 6th insurrection was treason. Okay, so that's on the Democrat side. anti-Trump and pro-Biden. Okay, that's the Democrat side. Now we're switching over to the Republicans. The Republicans think that Biden is old and has dementia and can't keep his words straight, doesn't know where he is. Therefore, President Biden is unfit for the presidency, but President Trump is the one everyone should vote for. So they have they're just diametrically opposed, like in other words, opposite. So I'm not preaching which one is right or which one is wrong. That is not the purpose of this exercise. This exercise is not to say you need to vote for President Biden. No, you got to vote for President Trump. No, this exercise is just to show you that you have two sides to every argument, okay? You've got one side, you got the other side. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to a left-leaning or something, and you're going to see something like President, let's see, on this side it's President Trump is unfit for duty, okay? Then you go to this side, President Biden is unfit for duty, but President Trump is great. And then you're going to write about the two opposite ends of that spectrum, and then you're going to comment on it, free write on it, okay, on the two opposite ends. And so if you want to take a shortcut, go to CNN, that's all the way to the left. Now go to Fox News, that's all the way to the right. And then you write about the headlines, and you're going to see, it's like watching a football game. Which side are you on? Are you going to be on the Biden team? Yay, Biden. Or are you going to be on the Trump team? Yay, Trump. So it's kind of like a football team, a football game. So whose side are you on? That sort of thing. So anyway, it's very interesting. It's fascinating how, you could be so diametrically opposed all in one country. Yeah. That's the beauty of America. You can have that to exist. In other countries, no, you have to follow the one leader, okay? In other countries, I'm not going to name what countries they are, but I'm sure. But in America, the reason why you got freedom is you're free to say whatever it is. Either you like the leader or you don't like the leader, whichever leader that is. So anyway, that's going to be your assignment for this. I use the same chart in my lectures. Okay, so next. A persuasive passage. So for week 5 discussion, you're going to write a persuasive passage where you're going to go to procon.org and you can choose a topic that's debatable, and then you write a persuasive passage using strong logic and a clear claim for write a persuasive passage using strong logic and a clear claim for discussion. Choose a topic that will help you develop an effective persuasive passage. Consider the grammar concepts learned this week and make sure you have correct abbreviation, spelling, and you don't confuse your words. And use strong transitions to help your reader go from point to point. Your passage should contain a thesis statement and be well proofed. In addition to your original post, be sure to provide a meaningful response to at least 2 of your peers' posts. So if you are not sure how to provide constructive feedback, what is one thing the author did effectively? Could be a strength in grammar or technique. What is the one thing the author can improve? Can you identify your peer's thesis statement? Is it effective? Can it be improved? If so, how? Which pre-writing strategies can the author utilize or improve their paragraph, and why? Regarding writing techniques, how did the author demonstrate consideration of audience, diction, and or purpose? So this is going to be week 5 forum where you write your persuasive passage. And then for the week 5 assignment, you're going to do, in this assignment, you will gain practice in identifying credible source material from unreliable sources and clearly explain why the source is considered credible. You will also get practice with using a quote and paraphrase, then document it using in-text citations and a reference. Complete the reading assignment and the interactive lecture before attempting the assignment. Download and complete the Week 5 assignment worksheet. To complete this assignment, review the Credible Sources Reference section, including the completed example. Complete the assignment worksheet of 3 different sources from the Fortis Online Library. Consider using sources that would be useful in your comparison-contrast essay. Check your work to ensure proper spelling and grammar mechanics. Refer to the guidelines below to complete each phase of your essay, following the required APA format. Spell check your essay. Save your work using the proper naming convention. This will take 3 to 4 hours for you to do. Use proper naming convention when saving your assignment and submit the Week 5 assignment by midnight Pacific Sunday. And of course, like usual, you should look at the rubric so that you know what's expected for this class. Always make it a habit to look at the rubric. Always make it a habit to look at the rubric so that you know what's expected for this assignment. Week 5 quiz. This assessment has been designed to assess your knowledge of essay writing and grammar. Select the Take the Quiz button to complete the 10-question quiz that covers chapters 16, 17, and 18. Please do not attempt the quiz before completing the weekly readings, lectures, and assignments. 2 attempts are provided for the quiz. Questions are randomized in each attempt, and the highest score will be awarded in the gradebook. This week, we learned about the importance of credibility in writing and how it affects the strength of our arguments. Just like seeking advice from professionals in their professional fields, we must use credible sources to support our claims. To enhance the credibility of our writing, we avoid using first-person speech and personal opinions based on experience. Instead, we adopt a third-person perspective to present a more authoritative and objective stance. In this module, we focus on distinguishing between credible and non-credible sources. You learn to identify reliable sources that add weight to your arguments while being cautious of unreliable or biased information. We also delved into the widely recognized APA formatting style, which helps us properly cite and reference our sources, showcasing our attention to detail and further adding credibility to our work. We also dedicated time to perfecting our compare and contrast essay drafts. By building on our skills and knowledge gained throughout the course, you refined your writing to ensure clarity, coherence, and a compelling presentation of your ideas. Using effective compare and contrast strategies, you crafted well-structured essays that strengthened your thesis and captivated your readers. Throughout these lessons, we kept the learning objectives in mind. We emphasized the importance of proper grammar, punctuation, and spelling to ensure our writing is clear and professional. Recognizing different essay types like personal narrative, process analysis, comparison and contrast, and persuasion essays helped us develop diverse writing skills for various purposes. Understanding the writing process guided us through creating well-structured essays. Great job this week. Keep practicing and you'll continue to elevate the credibility and impact of your writing. Congratulations, you completed the 5th week of this course. So that means you have only 1 more week left of this 6-week course. So congratulations on getting to the very end of this video. So if you like this video, subscribe to my Professor H writing channel. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime.